Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marta and today I will just be comparing some of the Looxi shadows that are from the holiday collection. It is the 9 ones right here, and I will just be comparing them with some of the other shadows I have from my existing Looxi collection just to see if there are any similarities. But I do think that a lot of these are quite unique because they have really special shifts to them, but it depends on how similar you want them to be or not. So I will just go ahead and start with the shade here, which is called Prancer. It is a light blue one, and I feel like it has a little bit of a green shift to it. So the shadows that I would compare that Prancer shade with is maybe the shade Snow Cone. It is from the Ice Cream Social Bundle and it is a duochrome shadow. So I will just swatch that right next to it. I believe this one has also some pink to it though, but it has some blue shifts too. So I'll just turn down the lighting so you can see them a bit better. As you can see, they're quite different when you swatch them, but in some lighting they look a little bit similar. The next shadow to compare it to is the shade Prom Queen. This one has fallen into the ground and I have repressed it, so it's not really the same formula. But this one is basically just a light blue shadow with lots of sparkles to it. So as you can see, it's quite a lot darker than the shade Prancer. And some other shadows that I have that are like in the same color family are some of the lighter green blues, and this is the shade Aquarius, but as you can see it has a very gold shift to it, so I don't really think that it's going to look the same. So as you can see, this one is way more green, so I don't really have any exact dupes for the shade Prancer, but here we have some similar ones. The next shadow is the shade Donner, which is a blue to gold duochrome, and the only one I think that could compare to this one is the shade Malibu, and it looks like this. It's also a blue to gold, but I think it's a little bit more darker, both the gold and the blue shadow. Yeah, so you can see Donner here, it's way more sky blue, and then we have Malibu here, so they do look different. So here you can see the shade Donner, and then we have the shade Malibu right here. So the next shade is the shade Vixen, but it's not really a point to compare it because I don't have anything that's similar to this. But for the sake of this video, I will just also swatch it next to the a shadow from the Mayhem collection. It's this one, it's the shade Anarchy, but this one is like a purple to blue to green shadow, so it's not going to be very similar. So this is the shade Anarchy, and here we have Vixen, and I'm not even going to swatch them out because they're so different. I just wanted to show you them up close. The next one is the shadow Dancer and Blitzen, but honestly the shade Dancer, it's not similar to anything. I have one that might compare to the shade Blitzen though, and that is the shadow Wild Child. It's one of the newer shimmers, and as you can see it has a pink base with a greenish shift, but they are different. This one, Wild Child, is a little bit darker and the shift is different as well. So here swatched out you can really see the difference. The only thing that's similar is honestly the shift, but the bases are very, very different. The next shadow is the shade Comet, and it just fell to the floor, so I will just try to press it back in case it loosened a little bit. But it is a red to purple duochrome, as you can see. And honestly, it's not that many that really look like it. It also has some orange in it, I can see now. But the only one that could maybe compare a little bit to it is the shade Ultraviolet, because this has the same purpley, pinky tones in it. So I will go ahead and swatch the shade Comet right here and Ultraviolet right here. So you can see that Comet has a lot more of a multi-chrome effect, but when you see them like this, they're quite similar. So in some lightings they're similar, but all in all they are quite different. But both of them are really sparkly and they're both beautiful. For the sake of this video, I will also compare it with the shade Cygnus from Devinah Cosmetics, although this video is basically just meant to compare with the Looxi shadows. But this is the shade Comet and this is the shade Cygnus. And I will also be comparing Cygnus with the last shadow from the bundle called Rudy. So the shade Comet and Cygnus. Next up to compare is the shade Cupid, which is one of the ones that surprised me the most because it has this beautiful green shift. And I have another shadow that has a green shift and a peachy base, and it's called Space Case. And as you can see, it has some of the same colors. See that there's a black spot in it, so I'll just try to not swatch that. So this is the shade Space Case. And they actually look quite similar, at least on the fingers. So I will try to swatch them for you. So we have the shade Cupid and the shade Space Case. Okay, so swatched out you can really see the difference. Space Case has a way darker base, and Cupid is a little bit more of a topper shade almost, but it's way more sparkly as well. But they are similar, so you could probably just use a white to gold duochrome on top of the shade Space Case and maybe they would look similar. Next up is the shade Dasher, and it's a pink to gold duochrome. And honestly, I don't have anything like this from Looxi Beauty, but I do have a pink to, or I actually do have Dollface though, so I can swatch that, but it's a way more glittery shadow. So this is Dollface. It's discontinued, but they do bring it back every time that they have a sale. So this is Dollface. As you can see, it's super glittery compared to this. But I do also have one from Colourpop that a lot of people that buy from Colourpop also have, and it's the shade Come and Get It. But this one is not really that metallic, it's way more of a satin shadow, as you can see. So I will swatch Dasher here in the middle. Then we have Dollface and Come and Get It. So as you can see, the shade Dollface is way more shiny and sparkly, and Dasher here, it's also, if I build it up, I can just add a little bit, then it will be a lot more powerful as well, but not as much as this one. So it depends if you like glitter or not, if you should get Dasher or Dollface. And Come and Get It is not that comparable, honestly. And since I do have them here, I can also swatch the shade Empress from Devinah, which is also a pink to gold duo. So this is the shade Empress from Devinah. It's a little bit sparkly too, but not super sparkly. So here is the shade Empress from Devinah. So as you can see, it's a little more similar to this one, the shade Dasher, than the other, but it has a way more bubbly pink or bubblegum pink base than the others. Last we have the shade Rudy right here, which is a beautiful red to orange duochrome shade. And I have a couple ones that have sort of the same shift, but they're not as sparkly as this. So I have the shade Firefly from Looxi, and it looks like this. So it's way more red, as you can see here. And then we have the shade Cygnus from Devinah right here, which I told you I would swatch as well. So I will just swatch the shade Rudy in the middle. Then we have Cygnus from Devinah right here. And Firefly. So the shade Cygnus is actually quite close when you think about the color shifts, because they all have like red to purple to orange, and they're both a little bit shiny, but Cygnus has some more sparkles to it. I would say that Rudy is more of a shimmer or metallic, and Firefly is obviously way more red and a little bit darker. but it does also have a orange base to it. So that was all of the different shades from the Looxi Beauty Reindeer Sleigh collection, swatched out and compared to some of the other shadows I have. I hope it was helpful for you if you were just trying to decide if you wanted the bundle or not, or if you needed it. So I hope that you liked this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!